Citizens are acting out. I don't know what's gotten into everyone. Fighting, stealing, backstabbing. If you're willing, I could use your help.
Okay, okay. So here we have the leaders of Stormguard, and they are describing pretty much what is like an insurrection. Um, we have found the fires, because the fires are like pretty much everywhere here in the Azeroth Highlands. Um, um, and it's the god of Arathor which somehow managed to keep the fires at bay. And the Defiance, they tried to take Stromgar, but like I said, there was undead, there were elementals, there were ghosts, there were the Defiance. So if we have like for like 20, 30 years, the fires, undead, and whatever shit that inhabited this place, and suddenly you have the Alliance come back during BFA and put Danath in charge. You simply just don't put someone in charge, and you have two options. You either annihilate the population and put someone in charge, and then you make it a colony. You bring people to inhabit the place where you annihilated the locals, just like they did in Australia, for example. And the second option is, like in Game of Thrones with Daenerys Targaryen, you negotiate with the people, even if you don't identify with them, even if they're defiers. So if he's describing an insurrection, it's because they did not do. They neither did option 1 nor option 2. So in other words, they didn't call the place and annihilated the whatever were living here, nor and you just don't annihilate people. You make it a colony. You bring people to live within the walls, within the city walls, like a population. And I'm not sure if there's enough of the Arathi to make it a population, because the refugee point here, Arathi people, they were pretty much scattered after the death of the heirs of Throbing. So there's not enough people to make it a population, so you cannot make it a colony. So option A is not a good option, and option B is to negotiate with the locals, with the fires and undead. And I cannot see a paladin like Dana Throbing and other zealots that are less reasonable than him negotiating either with the horde. Because one thing is, if you don't have the horde here at what's the name of the place? Hammerfall. So if you don't have the horde at Hammerfall, and you don't have the horde by Thoradin Wall, and if you don't have the horde controlling Hillsbrad, and if you don't have trolls and ogres living by the mountains by Total Span, if you don't have the horde in Hammerfall, if you don't have a bunch of elementals being controlled by either troll shamans or orc shamans, and much of the horde that lives here were previously held captive in concentration camps, and if you don't have the defiers, I mean, if you don't have all that I said, you could deal with the fires and have a kingdom here, and making concessions, like in Game of Thrones, when Daenerys tried to make concessions with the population she ruled over. So the thing is, there's so much going on, so many problems here. There's even kobolds, there's ogres, trolls, the fires, undead, orcs, horde. Uh, there's titan keepers. I'm not sure if keepers, titan. Yeah, titan keepers had one here, and have elementals of like huge elementals. So you need like a huge elemental firepower, and the only answer for that is like shamans, making it like a coalition between troll shamans, ogre. I'm not even sure if there's ogre shamans, but ogre wizards, whatever they are, and the troll shamans and orc shamans of the horde, both in Hammerfall, and in this camp here. So this place is this kingdom simply, this is not gonna work, because like I said, this is surrounded by horde, by horde, by a mess in wetlands, and you just have wild hammer dwarves, which actually they could help the Arathi, but they were pretty much dragged in a conflict by the War of the Three Hammers in Ironforge, and had to fight the rise of the Dark Iron Dwarves, and make a pact to establish the Council of the Three Hammers. So they were quite busy. Cordron is not here, actually. Cordron is in Ironforge. Falstad was left to look over the Wild Hammer here. And they have the Plaguelands, which is a mess, which is pretty much still, it still has undead running rampant here, and we have like the Argent Crusade and the Iron Circle trying to mend the land, but you cannot just mend the land when you have undead still being created, like abominations and shit still being risen from the dead. So this land is cursed pretty much because of Tears Fall Glades, and so this is not meant to be. This is not meant to work. Even with Gunea's opening its gates, Gen became the puppy of the monarchy of Stormwind. So Gunea was left to its own devices, and actually the Forsaken advanced quite deep and taken. They have taken Guneas for quite a long time, and have the elves of Kotala, so they don't give a shit about anything. So this place, the only way for Lordaeron to work under human administration, even when you talk about small kingdom like Stromgard, it is with the help of the other kingdoms, and ultimately Stormwind. But when this happened in BFA, when one had the chance of this happening in BFA, when the Alliance actually advanced here, and even advanced at Capital City to Undercity, Sylvanas pretty much changed the plans of the Alliance because of the resurrection of Dirk Proudmoore. This actually quite broke a lot of mess to Couturiers, and the administration of Couturiers was left in shambles by the acts of Sylvanas, and the burning of Teldrassil also made King Anduin ask for the Lancy forces, the Lance forces that were deployed here in Stormguard, and there was sent to Tirsfallglade. All the Alliance forces that were at this place and at this place were summoned by the High King to be deployed in Darkshore. And after Darkshore, they were all summoned to Durotar. And after that, we had famine. We had soldiers questioning why they were fighting for the Alliance, and questioning actually what they were fighting for. And the king, and we had Shadowlands with the king going depressed, and the council of nobles of Stormwind actually running Stormwind in his absence. And Turallion is like Eddard Stark. He doesn't deal or meddle with the nobles. So we had pretty much Turallion controlling the military branch of the Alliance, and the House of Nobles of the Alliance running the Alliance, which brought more famine and problems in Westfall and other places in the southern kingdoms. So the bottom line is the Alliance doesn't have resources and money to support Stormguard. Neither does it have money and resources to take Undercity after the victory. And Kalia managed to, in the work of Derek Proudmoore and Jenner Proudmoore and even Lydian Boz here at the North, came as good news both to Ralin and Gengraimane, because simply there was no money left to deal with so many lands. So the Alliance literally abandoned and left Lordaeron to Kalia, to Lilianbos, to Derek Proudmoore, and even again, since he became the puppy of the king, and the king went depressed and became the puppy of the High Commander, even again gave up his kingdom and left it to his daughter. So the Alliance pretty much gave it over Northern Lordaeron to whoever wanted to have it. So we have Kalia, Lilian, and Derek Proudmoore, and the daughter of Gengraimane controlling all of this land here. All of this land here. Except Arath Highlands, which is contested, which has a lot of issues I've just mentioned, and the hinterlands, which is also contested because we have the the the, the, the Wild Hammer dwarves not actually all in here because they are now at the ruling Ironforge, partially ruling Ironforge with the Council of the Three Hammers. So the Wild Hammers cannot even hold back the trolls. At the hinterlands. And the elves, they're even more laughable. Because they cannot do shit. They just stay here. They have no history, no lore, nothing. Blizzard just ignored them, their existence. So this is troll land and troll settlements. This is troll land and troll settlements. This is troll land and troll settlements. This as well and this as well. So 80% of this land belongs to the Horde. And you have like just this corner here controlled by the Wildhammer clan. And the problem is, if the only nuisance of the Wildhammer clan was having one of its leaders ruling Ironforge in the Council of the Three Hammers, then we would not have a problem, because then we could have Cordern Wildhammer here sending resources to Falstad and even helping Falstad advance and take control of the hinterlands. But we have Wildhammer dwarves also here in Twilight Highlands, like in Thundermar, in Kirthhaven. So we have Wildhammer being smashed here in the hinterlands. So they are literally between the anvil of the Horde and the hammer of the Twilight Hammer cult. So this is a situation that cannot be resolved at all. So Lordaeron is going to continue to be scattered to pieces, particularly after Shadowlands, when the Plaguelands became out of control. So there's so many problems. There's undead, there's trolls, there's ogres, there's a part of the Horde that doesn't agree at all with Kalia Menethil, and they are still loyal to Sylvanas. I'm not sure you remember, but the ending quest line, the trial, and the Magora and death of wow, I think I'm tired of freaking wow, the orc, which was advisor to Troll and then to Garrosh. That was like the main character in the BFA alongside Anduin. Even after his death, Magora, and when Sylvanas fled to Shadowlands, actually she didn't flee to Shadowlands. She fled. She went to the Northrend and opened the gateway to Shadowlands through the Frozen Throne with the Hammer of Domination. But the thing is, the end of the Fourth War, which was a victory to the Alliance and the establishment of a new Horde within a council was a double-edged victory, because it was not a complete victory. If it were a complete victory, first we would have the troll leader of the horde, I forgot his name now, Zolkan. He would have united, particularly after BFA, and having Princess Dajani join the horde, and the Zandalari join the horde. Zolkan would have united all the troll clans, and have a bunch of troll clans here, even the Amani here in Kopolas. If the horde, if the fourth war had ended with a full victory, Zolkan would have united all the troll tribes into one banner, namely the banner of the horde, and with the help of the Zandalari, of course, which is like the most influential clan, and for a long time the capital and the crowning jewel of the troll tribes. He would have united all the troll tribes, so we would not have troll issues in Lordaeron anymore, not even in Cropalas. And if Lilian Voss had the guts to deal with the problems in Skolomans and in Scarlet Monastery, and the problems in with the undead, like the mindless undead, if Lilian Voss were actually able to deal with all the cultists and warlocks were in control of the undead, the mindless undead, we will not have an undead problem in the first place here. And she could even went to Northrend to find a way to make contact with Bolvar before Sylvanas did it, to the extent that Bolvar somehow, under the Helm of Domination, would have found a way to solve the undead problem in the Plaguelands. So we have Zolkan that could have united the troll tribes. We have Lilian Voss, who could have traveled to Northrend, and with the help of Bolvar, maybe also with the help of Derek Broadmoor and Jaina as ambassadors to travel to Northrend and convince Bolvar to deal with the undead here. And even after the Legion with Matthias Shaw abandoned the Order of the Silver Hand at the Plaguelands, with their help they could have solved the undead problem. And so Zolkan solving the troll problem, Lilian, Derek and Jaina with help of Bolvar and the Silver Hand solving the undead problem, and Kalia Menethil dealing with the undead, which has consciousness, so not the mindless undead but the mindful undead, and united them with their alliance kin. We could have a united Lordaeron, not under the banner of the Alliance, neither of the Horde, but as an independent, peaceful land, um, restored to its former glory, without the fires, without pirates from Kotiras, without Naga coming from Bashir. Um, and we could even have help from Clopalas. Maybe magical help. So, but for all of this to happen, we're talking about many leaders that have different interests. We're talking about Lilian Voss, Kalia Menethil, Jaina Proudmore, Derek Proudmore, the Queen of Gilneas, which is the daughter of King Greymane. We're talking about Dan Throbane. We're talking about Falstad Wildhammer. We're talking about Kurdun Wildhammer. We're talking about Zolkan. We're talking about the Council of Silvermoon. So we're talking about Tajani in the Zandalar. So we're talking about 10 different leading figures that will have to have in both for Dragon also would have to be persuaded to work along with the 10 leaders I mentioned. This even before Sylvanus went to him. So to have 10 leaders which are narcissistic, which are troublesome characters, we would have to have a higher leader. And the problem is, these 11 figures I mentioned belong both. And I didn't even mention Dana Throbane, so that will make 12. So the 12 characters I mentioned, they belong both to the Horde and to the Alliance. So to make it work together, I think we would need a leading figure to make them work together, and we do not have that. Turalian is not interested in this, to the extent that he even lured and he even brought his dog, Gen Greymane, to be at his side and to leave his own kingdom behind. And Kalia is interested in reuniting, and that would live in with their living kin. Lilian Voss has her own mental issues and her own dark past. Hallstatt Wildhammer has no personality and no lore after the Day of the Dragon, so that's on Blizzard. Neither has Kurdun any lore past that. And I don't know. Zolkan has personality. Who else? Danath has personality. Bolvar has, but like I said, Lilian Voss has her own issues. Derek Proudmore is quite a weak character, so we all need both Derek Proudmore and Lilian Voss to work together to persuade Bolvar to fix the playlands. So we have a bunch of weak characters, partially developed, badly developed, with no lore, with issues, lacking money, lacking resources, lacking leadership, lacking purpose. So this is something that is interesting because it's not a problem per se. This is something that Blizzard can explore in future expansions. Because as it stands, Lordaeron is not safe. It's not united. It does not belong neither to the Horde nor to the Alliance, and this invites trouble because we're having a big war now up north, and I have a feeling that Blizzard will completely ignore the entirety of Lordaeron this expansion. And it's interesting because last expansion we had, I mean, looks like it's being done by AI, but we had a campaign in the Highlands, and we had also what did we have? We have also we had Lilian Boss dealing with Skolomans and her dark past. What else? What else did they have here in Lordaeron lately? I can't remember. I can't remember. But I of course we had the battle of Lordaeron in the FA here, but after the plague of undeath thrown by Sylvanas at her own city, nothing else happened in Tearfall Glades. And actually in Dragonflight we had like a throwback to the past with Tyr to explain what happened against the Black Empire. We had the liberation of Gunez, which was kind of a side story, small side story that had no influence in the neighboring kingdoms and lands in Lordaeron. But yeah, we didn't have much. And I don't know, because we have Alderman. Yeah, we had Alderman, but Alderman is in Casmodan. I'm mixing places. Alderman is all the way down here in Casmodan. Yeah, so in Lordaeron, that's what they had. We had BFA with the Battle of Lordaeron and the Warfront, and that's it. Shadowland had nothing. Yeah, nothing. And we even had potential for developing the Plaguelands in Shadowlands. We had a lot of potential to bring Shadowlands to the spotlight, and had nothing. And in Dragonflight we had Tyr tell us the story thousands of years ago, what happened with the Black Empire here. And we had the epilogue of Gunez, the retaking of Gunez in Dragonflight, but that was such a side story that had no impact whatsoever in Silverpine Forest or Hillbrad or Rathi Highlands or the Hinterlands. Like the Wildhammer clan, they have been quiet since Cataclysm. So Blizzard literally left the Hinterlands to rot since Cataclysm. The Earth Highlands to rot since Cataclysm. The Silverpine Forest to rot since Cataclysm. The Plaguelands, also since Cataclysm, Eastern Plaguelands since Cataclysm, actually Western Plaguelands since Cataclysm, because Eastern Plaguelands, I think Legion, we had a bit of things happening here, but it's been what, Cataclysm and Legion. BFA was 2020, so 5-6 years since we don't have anything pretty much going on here. And this story here seems quite, this Red Dawn storyline seems quite weak. So yeah, there's no indication that we have a united Lordaeron to face the threat of the Void. This expansion, I may be wrong, but I don't think Blizzard is dealing with Lordaeron anytime soon, and let alone Cosmodan. We're still having the pre-patch event here in Twilight Highlands, but this is just the idea of an intern. Someone rolled the dice and decided it would be here, but it could have been anywhere. It could have been even. It could have been anywhere, because the Twilight Cult is the Twilight Hammer is a clan that pretty much deal with chaos, and they're everywhere. We have Twilight Hammer even in the Kalimdor. If you guys remember Cataclysm, we had Twilight Hammer all over Hydro. So Cosmodan has been chosen to host the pre-patch event, but Cosmodan has been left untouched by Blizzard since Dragonflight, and even in Dragonflight it was just Alderman, and that's it. So Cosmodan has been left to rot since Cataclysm. Lordaeron pretty much left to rot since Cataclysm, and South and Eastern Kingdoms, and I don't even have to say anything. This is untouched since Cataclysm. So much of the, I think the entirety of the Eastern Kingdoms. Kalimdor, I don't know, Kalimdor is more complex because we have Oldham in BFA was quite active. We had the Caverns of Time, which was not active during Dragonflight because of the Bronze Dragonflight. What else? We have Anchorage and other places that had to do with Black Empire that was also relevant in Dragonflight. Even Feralas with Chandris after the burn of Teldrassil became more relevant, and the incident with the clan that united Thunderbluff with Magara, and the incident with Bane also brought the spotlight to Kalimdor, and also with the advance here in BFA in Durotar became relevant to, but that's pretty much it. And Darkshore, obviously, Darkshore was very active, but I feel like until the Ratio, this has been burned to ashes. So I feel like since Cataclysm, we had bits of story here and there, more in Kalimdor than in Eastern Kingdom, but on both continents we had bits, tiny bits, used by Blizzard, and I cannot blame Blizzard because they were building new continents and they had to use the Dragon Islands, Cultures, Zondalar, the Broken Shore, Kosogar, recently even Pandaria. So after, I'm not sure, actually we're just starting midnight. We don't know what's gonna happen, but the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor and Northrend, they're like pretty much untouched since 2011, 2012. So almost 15 years since since this place is relevant. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen in the last Titan, but something must happen because we keep adding continents, which is cool, but I think we're missing a great opportunity to tie stories and make Azeroth relevant again, and maybe having a Cataclysm 2.0, which is not the destruction of the world, but the revamping of the world. So instead of adding another continent, maybe the last Titan, or what comes beyond it, could make Kalimdor, Eastern Kingdoms, and Northrend revamped, particularly Northrend. But I would love, because the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor were revamped in Cataclysm, and Cataclysm is 2010 to 2012, and Northrend is from 2008 to 2010. So even though for nearly 15 years both of the OG continents are left quite untouched by Blizzard, Northrend has been left untouched for longer. But I don't know if I like the idea of an expansion exclusively in Northrend. I think Blizzard should have balls and bring that team, instead of focusing so much in player housing and having so many resources focused on player housing. They should put these devs to work in revamping the world and making relevant, instead of each expansion creating a new place to go. Like, so there's no point. So someone starts playing a game and they go to the Badlands and they will see, I don't know, PlayStation 1 graphics. They'll go to Stormwind City, the main capital of the Alliance, and they will see PlayStation 1 graphics that could be run on an iPhone, or even run on a calculator. So that's not very welcoming, and that's not something that a new player would like to see. Like, we have GTA 6 coming soon, and then you have a new player that is asked to buy the game, buy the expansion, buy the subscription, and then you send him to Stormwind and he will see graphics that they would see if they were playing James Bond games in Nintendo 64. And I think that doesn't do justice to World of Warcraft. That's why I think I'm not against adding new places. I think we are adding so many that new players are like downloading add-ons just to know where to go. They don't know. If you ask a new player and they are in like the new zone, they are in Kofalas, and you say to this new player, "Oh, go to Zangar Marsh." They'll say, "What? What's Zangar Marsh?" They have no idea that they have to go to the portal room uh, in their capital and take the portal to Shattered City, and then in Shattered City fly west to Zangar Marsh. So people are downloading add-ons to tell them how to go to places because there's so many new places added each expansion. Then they have no idea how the hell to go to those places. So I'm not saying that should stop adding new content. We love new places, but we're adding so much that for 15 years we're neglecting the OG places. And I'm very happy that we're using Prothelas and Zulaman here, which is an OG, kind of, because this is the Burning Crusade place. But I hope that Blizzard look back and say, let's revamp again the world, just like they did in Cataclysm, graphics-wise, in mainly the capital and capital cities, like revamping Stormwind, Ironforge, and so on. So that's it. That's what I have to tell you. The natural bane, fairing, random motherfucker 1 and random motherfucker 2. That's what I had to say. And if you have something to say, speak now. If not, shut the fuck up. Because I'm logging out. Peace, motherfuckers.